Are you with us, Camille?
I am sorry, I was on mute, so I just forgot about.
No problem.
All right, so I love how. 1 second. I don't know if you guys are hearing an echo.
I don't hear an echo.
All right, then I will just deal with it. Um, so I loved how Tabitha touched on being
I'm hearing an
intentional.
echo. Yeah, I can hear
Are
an
you?
echo. It's pretty bad.
Tabitha, maybe is it coming through your computer?
Now it's good.
Okay. All right. So Tabitha, I loved how Tabitha touched on how it really falls down to us making an intentional choice for growth. And so that's what I want to just wrap this call up with is just some things that we can be doing personally to take our personal businesses, our team businesses to that trajectory of growth, but in an intentional way. Because a lot of times I think people in this business, they just they fall into those growth traps that Tabitha mentioned. And if they're noticing growth in their business, it's almost accidental rather than intentional. So we want to be and remain intentional about it. So 4 things that we can do. The first thing would be to just make sure we're asking ourselves those big questions related to growth. And the biggest one I think would be really how far can we go in our businesses? How far can we go in life? There's a lot of different versions of the saying where you can only do, to whom much is given, much is required, or you have to do with life, make the most out of what you've been given in life, basically. And this just really, to me, touches on how we really need to hold ourselves responsible and be accountable to the opportunity that we have with our Usborne businesses and in so many different areas of life too. And thinking through not holding ourselves back, but asking ourselves how far can we go. Some other ways that you can ask yourself this, and I would encourage you to write at least one of these down so you can really be reflecting on that question this week, but would be to ask yourself, where do you want to go in life? What would you really love to see from your business? I know Jill touched on this briefly at the beginning, challenging us all to think about what would we really love to see? What's a really big, passionate dream that we can apply to our Usborne businesses? A second question would be, what direction do you want to go? Because as Tabitha pointed out, this business is a vehicle, and if we don't have a direction that we're pointing the vehicle in, it's just not going to go anywhere. A third question would be, what's the farthest you can imagine going? And when I think about that question, I think if you can see the destination of where you want to go, you're probably actually not thinking big enough, because you want to set you want to set a goal that, or a plan for growth that maybe you can measure along the way, but you don't want to limit what you're doing with it. Because if you think about so many different areas of our life, if we set certain goals, but then we only limit it to what that goal is, and we don't have a plan beyond that for it, then things tend to go backwards. So, for example, if you're trying to lose weight and you reach that ideal weight, but you don't continue to challenge yourself or have some plan to move forward with that, you just kind of plan to maintain that weight, chances are very, very often what happens is people slowly but steadily kind of slip back into old habits and kind of what things were like before. If they reach even different levels of income with Usborne, or different success levels, titles with our company, if that's your goal, it's been so sad to me over the years to watch people achieve some very substantial levels with the company or awards with the company, and then just to watch them drop off a year or two later. And that is largely because they had that goal mindset where that was their goal, and they had no further idea in place of what they planned to do after that. And we don't want that to happen to any of us that are on this call. So think through, if you arrive at that goal, what could you further set? And that's the growth mindset that we're trying to challenge you to think, to start thinking in. So when you're answering these questions, and that's really what's going to start you on that growth journey. And as Jill was challenging us to do at the beginning, just make sure you're thinking big. Don't limit it to a title. Don't limit it to even necessarily a certain income level. Because what if you think you only want to make $2,000 a month or even $3,000 a month? At some point, your team is going to grow to a level where if you just plan to make $2,000 or $3,000 a month and that's where you leave it at, and you continue to have that goal, you're limiting the potential of the people underneath you. Because what if they want to make $2,000 or $3,000 a month? Well, then chances are you're going to need to make more than that. So if you have a growth mindset, though, then you can be thinking of, what can I challenge myself to do even beyond that? As Jill pointed out, some great ideas like being able to give money to people who are really in need, or to do big things with your kids, or plan for big memory-making experiences, whether that is mission trips or vacations, or just to be able to provide for maybe a debt-free college education, or just big things where you provide flexibility maybe for your spouse to just tackle a dream job that they've always wanted to, but they've felt strapped because of financial constraints of providing for the family. So that's the first question, or the first thing for intentional growth, is thinking through what are those answers to the big questions. The second thing, and Tabitha did touch on this, is just to start, just do it and do it now. So many times it's very easy for us to just kind of think of doing it later. So I loved a quote that a woman named Jennifer Reed was saying in an article, where she said that, hold on one second, later is one of those dream killers, one of the countless obstacles we put up to derail our chances of success. The diet that starts tomorrow, the job hunt that happens eventually, the pursuit of a life dream that begins someday, combined with other self-imposed roadblocks, and that locks us on autopilot. Why do we do this to ourselves anyway? Why don't we take action now? Let's face it, the familiar is easy. The uncharted path is lined with uncertainties. And so many times we just allow ourselves less, it's just working differently with my business. And I feel like that's enabled me to flexibly put my family first, both my immediate family and my extended family this year. It's allowed my husband and I, and even some of my children at this point, to travel the world and just do amazing vacations that are like once in a lifetime kind of things. The example that it's set for my kids of not only working hard and working through obstacles, but having them see me achieve different things that I've reached for is so amazing. And I even love that I've really enjoyed watching them celebrate my successes too. As silly as that might sound, like it's a rewarding thing for them to be proud of what I'm accomplishing, because I know that that's setting an example for them. So the third thing that I would encourage you to think through, besides thinking through the big question and doing it now, the third thing would be to face the fear that you might be feeling. And so sometimes we are scared of failure. Sometimes we're scared of trading in the familiar, the security for the unknown. Some of us might be scared of overextending ourselves, either financially or time-wise or commitment-wise. Sometimes the fear can be of what others might say or think, possibly about us spending more time to do this, switching out of a career choice. That was definitely something that I experienced when I had family members saying, like, so when are you going to stop that book thing and get back to what my career was? And for some people, it might be fear that success might alienate people that we've done business with, either our friends in our company or even friends outside of our company. And just facing those things head on and identifying what really might be holding us back, and then just realizing, are we going to feed that fear that we have, or are we going to feed the hope and the possibility that we can really embrace instead of that? The last thing, so first thing I mentioned was ask yourself big questions. Second thing is just get it done and do it now. The third thing would be facing your fear. And then the last thing is change from accidental to intentional growth. And that's kind of what I started with in talking. And I just want to give you, in this book that a few of us have mentioned, the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, I loved a couple of different lists that John Maxwell had given. And so you can kind of think these through as I read them off. If you are really kind of just haphazardly pursuing success with your business, these might be either some of your thoughts or some things, some patterns you might be noticing. This would be considered accidental growth. So with accidental growth, plans start tomorrow. We often are waiting for growth to come. We often are only learning from our mistakes, meaning we're just kind of doing things, and if something happens, poorly, you hear this even often from consultants, like, oh, I'm really struggling with home parties or Facebook parties or whatever, and they're just not for me, rather than being really intentional about training themselves to do a party correctly or to do a Facebook party correctly from the get-go. Accidental growth, it depends on good luck. People who have this mindset often quit early and often, either on their success, on the business as a whole, on just a goal that they might set for themselves. They fall into bad habits. They talk big but don't actually accomplish things. They play it safe. Their thinking is often like a victim. I'm just no good at this, or, oh, my life circumstances are preventing me from actually accomplishing that. They think that growth relies on talent, and they feel like they stop learning at some point, or they do seem to stop learning. Maybe they finish their incentive period. Maybe they promote to team leader, and then they feel like they've just kind of arrived and done what they need to do, and so success should just come after that. Versus having an intentional growth mindset. Instead, with an intentional growth mindset, we insist on starting today. We just get it started. Take complete responsibility for our growth. We're willing to even learn before we're making those mistakes. So we learn from our mistakes, but we are also willing to be proactive in our learning. We're willing to work hard, persevere through things, even when it takes a while. Fight for good habits, follow through, take risks, think like a learner rather than like a victim. Rely on character, and we're just willing to never stop growing. So just realize, please, that our philosophy is not best expressed in words. What we truly choose to live by is expressed in the choices we make. In the long run, we shape our lives and we shape ourselves. That's a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, and I love it because it's challenging us to realize that the potential for doing big things is right in front of us, and we get to choose whether we do that or not. So reach out and reach for those potential passionate dreams that you really can accomplish and do with this, and just seize those opportunities. This company needs us to do that. Your team needs you to do that, and we're just super excited for the growth that we know is going to happen in huge ways in 2015. Do you have anything to add, Tabitha or Jill?
No, that was awesome. Just so to reiterate, like this year really has blown my mind in what is possible.
Yeah.
And I know that all of my previous income goals they were too low, and I saw how rapidly in 1 year things can change in such a big way. And so for regular people. And so I would just say, like Camille and Tabitha have both mentioned, do not hold yourself back. Really go after what you want, because so many things that I thought, oh, those are just pie in the sky dreams, I can actually see happening for my family in the next few years. And it just is amazing. And I want everyone in this call to just be able to experience a little of that.
Yeah, and I would say, everyone on this call is part of a larger executive leadership team that is, pretty powerful together, whether you're on my team or Jill's team or Camille's team. And just as you're giving thought to what you want and what you want for your business and the potential of growth, know that you can have all of this and more. And, if you're used to maybe seeing yourself as part of something, we're all part of UBAM. And that's an amazing and empowering thing. Again, just doing it together. But let yourself really think big about how you want to grow your leadership team, what you want that to look like. When do you want to have the success level of having $1 million year or whatever that is? Being a part of a larger team and the whole company gives us, the opportunity to see what's possible. But know that you guys are all part of paving this new way of figuring out what's possible. So let yourself think big on what your executive team, how you can grow that and what that can look like. And if it feels scary, you're on the right path. If it doesn't feel scary, it's not big enough. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
That was exciting. Thank you.
Sure. And I guess we did take it to an hour, but we have the event up. So as we're processing thoughts, share, because, you might, if you have a moment of kind of self-discovery or have recognized and identified something you would love to have happen in your life or a growth level you would love to have, make it real and share it, because you don't know who you're going to inspire to do the same and to give them the guts to do the same. We're in this together. It's going to be amazing.
Please follow the current road for 5 miles.
All right. Well, have an amazing week, everybody. Thanks for attending. And yeah, we will make the recording available as soon as I receive that, when I figure out how I'll receive it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.